Hey, good morning everybody, it's Bobby, and today I want to talk about something that's probably not discussed enough, and that is how to deal with being spooked out on the golf course. Now, some of you better players already know what I'm talking about, and for those of you who don't, let's imagine something for a moment. Let's just say you have two players hitting balls on the range, and you find out that one of them averages 75, that's their average score. The other averages 82. And your job is to just sit there and watch them swing and try to guess and determine for yourself which one is the 75 shooter and which one shoots 82. And I've got to tell you something, even with an educated eye, there's a good chance that part of the time you'll be wrong. You'll have those two mixed up. And that's because as you get closer to single-digit handicaps, it's not so much the physical execution of swinging a golf club that is the giveaway, that demonstrates how good you are. It's how well you deal with adversity and being spooked out on the golf course. What do I mean by spook? Well, let's just say that the 82 shooter is out there, and this person is a person who naturally has a left to right ball flight. And that's the way they play golf. But on this day, with that left to right shot, they know that's what's coming off the bat. They also find themselves with a strong left to right wind on a par 4. Well, right away they're spooked because they have a left to right shot. Now they have a left to right wind. And to make it worse, this is a long hole and it's a dogleg left. This person is feeling spooked. Now, here's the difference between the 82 shooter and the 75 shooter, both of whom are faders of the ball, both of whom hit the ball left to right. The 82 shooter is likely to get up there and say, my goodness, if I hit this into that wind, it's going to take it. I don't know how far it's going to take it. I've got to hit a draw. Now, this person has already demonstrated in themselves, in their history, that they're incapable of hitting a reliable draw. They can hit one once in a while. But they play a fade because it's reliable. But this situation is one that they're desperate. They're going to have to hit a draw, and out of desperation, what do? They hit a snap hook into the woods and end up with a 7 or an 8, and that is what represents the difference between themselves and the 75 shooter, who instead would do this. Well, this isn't an ideal situation, but I'm going to start it down the left side. I probably am going to end up on the far right side, but I'll have a long shot in and make at least a 4 or a 5. And so the decision making, and instead of playing out of desperation, playing out from a standpoint of acceptance sometimes makes the difference. But it's not just that. It has to do with reframing the situation, being able to, on the spot, find something that seems like a desperately perilous situation and turning into something that's manageable in your mind, taking away the spook out of a spooky situation. Now, I'll give you a story from years ago that illustrates this point very well and got me really thinking about how important it is to have command over your own brain, over your own thinking, to control your thinking. I was playing in a two-man match. It was 2 against 2. My partner, his name was Charlie Coxey, and he was an excellent player. He was in his 60s at the time, and during that time he used to shoot in the 60s a lot. And we were playing these other two guys on a par 3, this is the 8th hole, and Charlie had kind of goofed up the hole a little bit. He was in his pocket with a 4. He made a bogey. But myself and my our opponents, all had a 4-foot putt, and guess what? Those 4-foot putts were all in the same line within an inch of one another. Ball marker, ball marker, ball marker, coin, coin, coin. We were all right there, right in the line. Never seen it happen since, I don't think. But we all basically had the same 4-foot putt, less than an inch spread between the first and the last. But I was farthest away, so I would get to see those two guys putt first, so I felt like I was in the winning position. Well, this particular putt seemed to break just a little bit to the left. That's what it looked like, just a slight turn to the left. But it was only 4 feet, and so the first guy got up there, and he played it out on the right edge, and he missed it. It stayed there, didn't move at all. Ooh, boy, I thought it broke. Okay. The second guy, his partner, seeing that, decided to play it straight at the hole. Well, this time it did break. And I am going, holy whoa, they both missed it ahead of me. Already there's a negative twist because they both missed it. But what was worse was there seemed to be only 2 ways you could play it. Play it on the right edge and hope that it will break. And when he did that, he missed. Or play it straight at the hole and hope that it'll stay straight. And that time it broke. There's no roadmap into this hole. And so I was spooked. Let me tell you something. I had all kinds of negative thinking going on that I didn't have before I saw those 2 people both miss it. And my playing partner said something that has served as an inspiration to me ever since. I think about this so often because now I can recognize when I'm being spooked and the necessity, therefore, to turn it around. He said, Bobby, don't fool with that thing. Get up there and act like you were the first one to putt. Now, that might not sound like much to you, but there were two very profound statements in what he said to me. Number one, he said, don't fool around with that thing, meaning exactly what I was doing. I was fooling around with it. I was thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to make this? There's only 2 routes into the hole, and they've exhausted them both. They've proven that neither one will work. Maybe the thing is on a shelf. Is this even possible? This is the fooling around that he was talking about. Don't fool around with that thing. And the second thing he said was, pretend like you're the first one to get up there and putt it. Meaning, forget what they did. That has no bearing on you. Get up there, read that putt, look at it like it's your own 4-footer, without the negativity that comes from watching 2 other people fail, and decide on your own that you're going to make it. And so I did. I looked at it, read it, got a positive mindset with which to stroke it, and then knocked it right in the hole. And it was after that that I realized, had Charlie not said something to me that made me realize I could turn this around, because I was spooked. I had it in my mind that I was just going to be the 3rd of 3 who missed that thing, and afterward would lament how what a bad break that was for all 3 of us. What a hard putt that we all 3 missed it. No, I was able to turn it around because of what Charlie said, and have since then drawn inspiration that has made me realize I can do the same thing, and so can you. And so let's talk about a situation that comes up commonly, and this can be defeated. And it's all about experience sharing. Now, here's what I mean. Now, let's just say that on your golf course, the tee shot on number 2 just gives you fits. You just simply can't do it. But yet the tee shot on 5 you really like. Number 2, you can't find the fairway. Number 5, you can't miss the fairway. Well, if that's the case, it's not the hole itself that's causing troubles, something exterior to you. It's inside here. It's what you see. When you're on number 2 and you can't hit a good tee shot, that's because all you see is the trouble when you look out there. On number 5, all you see is the fairway. And so my advice to anyone who's looking to get rid of that trouble of being maligned with that one hole where you can't make a good swing, when you get onto 2 tee box, set up to that thing. When you're squarely aligned, forget you're on 2 and pretend you're on 5. Why? Because after all this area in your peripheral view looks exactly on 5, just like it does on 2. So that shouldn't be any problem at all pretending like you're on number 5. And if you can stand here and imagine that you're hitting into number 5 fairway, you'll make that same swing with that same peaceful, easy feeling on number 2 as you do on number 5. Now that's simple enough, right? But that's just one example, and that's a pretty simple version of what you can do anywhere out on the golf course. My advice to you is, when you feel doubt and uncertainty, find a way to get rid of it before you make your swing. Use your powers of imagination, of focus and concentration, and things will come your way. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for tuning in. I'll look forward to seeing you next week.